Are you ready to explore the dark secrets of Street Fighter's most feared warrior? Today we're taking a deep dive into the fascinating world of Akuma, and uncovering some surprising facts about this legendary fighter. From his fearsome reputation to his unique abilities, we'll leave no stone unturned. Get ready to discover the untold story of Akuma, and unleash his hidden secrets. So grab a seat and let's journey into the heart of Street Fighter, with the one and only Akuma. Without further ado, let me welcome you to the Street Fighterverse. Before we start our video, if you like The Matrix, Cowboy Bebop, and other sci-fi themes, we want to welcome you to the SciPunk feed, our new YouTube channel that covers all types of cyberpunk, sci-fi themes that you might enjoy. Subscribe and join us. Let's start with our first trivia and facts about Akuma. In some adaptations of the Street Fighter storyline, including the animated film Street Fighter Alpha Generations and the live-action series Street Fighter Assassin's Fist, there are hints that Akuma may be Ryu's biological father. While this connection is not explicitly confirmed, the suggestions add a layer of complexity to the character's relationship and backstory. As both Ryu and Akuma are powerful martial artists with a deep connection to the mysterious energy known as the Satsu no Hado, their potential familial ties add an intriguing element to their ongoing rivalry. However, it's worth noting that this connection is not part of the official Street Fighter canon, and it remains a subject of debate and speculation among fans of the series. Our next trivia fact is the quote, "Prepare to meet your maker," is one of Akuma's most famous lines in the Street Fighter franchise, but it was actually used by another character first. The Scorpion, a character from the Capcom fighting game Saturday Night Slam Masters, used the same phrase before Akuma made it his own. This is not uncommon in the world of fighting games, where developers often reuse lines and animations across multiple characters in games. Nevertheless, the line has become closely associated with Akuma, reflecting his status as a fearsome and powerful warrior who is unafraid to face his opponents head-on. The quote has since become a part of Akuma's iconic image, and it's likely to remain a memorable part of his character for years to come. I bet you didn't know this one. Well, even though it's not a fact, it's something most people might have missed. There are some noticeable similarities between Akuma from the Street Fighter series and Yujiro Hanma from the Baki the Grappler franchise. Both characters have wild red hair, a fierce demeanor, and possess strength that is far superior to most other fighters in their respective universes. They both inspire their younger rivals to become stronger by embracing their violent nature and seeking out worthy opponents to battle. Additionally, both Akuma and Yujiro have a dark personality and frequently desire battle to test their own strength. However, there are also some key differences between these two characters. While both are ruthless and callous, Akuma is generally less sadistic and arrogant than Yujiro. While Yujiro relishes in causing pain and destruction, Akuma tends to focus more on his own training and honing his skills as a martial artist. Akuma's desire for battle comes from a more philosophical and spiritual place, driven by his quest to achieve true mastery of his art. Despite the similarities between these two characters, they remain distinct and iconic figures in their respective franchises. Both have left a huge mark on the world of fighting games and manga, inspiring countless fans with their awe-inspiring power and unyielding dedication to their craft. This one comes from the Udon comics. The Street Fighter Origins Akuma comic book sheds some light on Akuma's backstory, including the revelation that his father was named Gyuki, Ox Oni. This name was chosen due to its similarity in sound and meaning to Akuma's original Japanese name. The comic also implies that Akuma may have been responsible for the deaths of Ryu's family. According to the story, Akuma destroyed a village after learning that its inhabitants had killed his father. While the comic doesn't explicitly state that Ryu's family was among the villagers, the implication is strong, and it adds a layer of tragedy to the ongoing rivalry between Akuma and Ryu. Overall, the comic provides a fascinating glimpse into Akuma's past and helps to flesh out his character and motivations beyond his role as a fierce and powerful fighter. This next one comes from the most iconic Akuma Street Fighter crossovers, Asura's Wrath. This video game features the character August, who shares a similar code of combat with Akuma from the Street Fighter series. Both characters fight for the sake of fighting, and they never hold back when in a good fight. August, like Akuma, is a powerful warrior who revels in the thrill of battle and strives to constantly improve his skills. Despite their similarities, there are some key differences between August and Akuma. While Akuma is generally portrayed as a more stoic and serious figure, August is more flamboyant and prone to theatrical displays of power. Additionally, while Akuma is focused primarily on martial arts and the pursuit of true mastery, August is more of a jack of all trades, with proficiency in a variety of weapons and combat styles. Despite these differences, the similarities between August and Akuma make for an interesting comparison. highlighting the enduring appeal of characters who are driven by a deep love of combat and the pursuit of ultimate power. This last one is a great one. Richard Epcar, the voice actor for Akuma in Street Fighter V, has had a long story with the Street Fighter franchise. Interestingly, he also provided the voice for another iconic Street Fighter character, E. Honda, in the Street Fighter II, the animated movie. Akuma has pushed the boundaries of his power and the boundaries in his traditional appearances. In Street Fighter II, the animated movie, even though in this movie is more surrounded by the main protagonists Ryu and Ken and the main antagonist M. Bison, Akuma has managed to be in the backgrounds of the cities of Calcutta, sitting in front of a wall, most likely as a spectator to the fight Dalsum and Honda had. In animated Street Fighter II V series, he is also seen multiple times on different places and occasions. Akuma also appears in the arcade versions of Street Fighter, the movie, as a regular character. He also appears in the console versions of Street Fighter, the movie, as a secret boss who can be selected via a cheat code. In South Park, Imagination Land Episode 2, Butters wakes up to find his mother and father at his bedside, having cooked him breakfast. Butters explains about his weird dream of Imagination Land, only to find out that he was only hallucinating with his eyes closed. He wakes up in Imagination Land, having passed out and wet himself, and becomes sad that his parents are never gentle to him. The evil side of Imagination Land breaks through the barrier and charges at the residents of the good side. The terrorists proclaim Allah, but are killed in seconds by one of the creatures. The mayor of Imagination Land is then badly injured by Alien, and Butters is pursued by Predator and stormtroopers. In the background, we see a glimpse of Akuma as he is gathered with the other evil side members as they are having a discussion of who is the evilest of all. Akuma has also appeared in other gaming franchises as well. Akuma, along with Ryu, both made appearances in Capcom and CyberConnect 2's collaborative beat-em-up title Asura's Wrath. Akuma appears as a DLC-only character with his own fleshed-out episode, titled The Strongest vs. the Angriest. Much like Ryu's episode, it uses the Super Street Fighter IV engine while shifting to the traditional battle system for the second half. The story picks up after Ryu's episode, where Akuma suddenly appears. To prevent distractions, Akuma immediately executes the Demon Armageddon on Ryu, but instead of piercing him, he launches him so hard it forces Ryu through a wormhole back to his original timeline. When Akuma learns of Asura's name, he reveals himself to be familiar with the deity's background as a being of wrath and challenges him. Akuma retains his move from Super Street Fighter IV and switches ultras between matches. The wrath of the raging demon can be countered through a quick time event. At the end of the first half, he transforms into Oni. At the end of the battle, Asura and Akuma, reverting from Oni somehow, continue to fight, with the fight apparently lasting for 500 years. In the time skip, both fighters are still facing each other in a standstill and have turned to stone with developing moss. Eventually, both statues begin to move at last, finally finish the fight, ending in a cliffhanger. In Capcom vs SNK 2, Akuma appears as a boss. He is shown on a roof in Osaka, fighting Rugal. If it's normal Akuma, he will appear by himself, wondering who emitted a great war cry. Akuma then deduces that it was the player's character, team, and proceeds to challenge them directly. When he is defeated, he states that he will never give up, and then says that the real challenger has appeared at last, which is none other than Rugal himself, and the two proceed to battle at once. If he is the one speaking to Rugal on the roof, he states that he will remember Rugal's name and performs the shun goku satsu on Rugal. However, Rugal then grabs Akuma by the chest, commenting on how much the satsu no hado impressed him, and forcibly gives the Orochi power to Akuma before his death. He will then transform into Shin Akuma, also known as God Akuma in this game, due to the different kanji that appears on his back. If defeated, he is left clinging to life until black entities revive him and take him away, ordering him to go on and become stronger. However, if Rugal is the one speaking to Akuma, he states that he enjoyed the Satsu no Hado and comments that Akuma is not worthy of it. Deciding that it requires a new possessor, he then kills Akuma outright and absorbs his Satsu no Hado to become Ultimate Rugal. However, Akuma takes possession of Rugal's body, and as his mind isn't strong enough to contain his power, he then disappears after Rugal's defeat, stating he has no name and is nothing and everything. If the game is cleared with Akuma, the following text scrolls. Though he has beaten the evil powers, Akuma isn't satisfied. He is not satisfied by power, energy, or victories. Nobody can realize what Akuma longs for. Akuma is a fierce warrior in Tekken, with a reputation for being aggressive, proud, and honorable. He is constantly training to become stronger, and holds those who are weak in contempt. Akuma has a serious demeanor and rarely smiles, preferring to battle only formidable opponents with great potential for strength, such as Ryu. He despises any interference in his training, and approaches fights with intense focus, whether holding back or going all out. In conversations with other fighters, Akuma often discusses their fighting styles and compares them to his own. He has a deep-seated hatred for Goku, as he believes his fellow martial artist is not using their fighting style as it was intended, and for sealing off the satsu no hado within Ryu. Akuma prefers to fight alone and is fiercely independent. In the Tekken story, Akuma is an enigmatic fighter, known to some as a demonic presence in the battlefield. He becomes embroiled in the ongoing Mishima family feud due to a pre-existing relationship with Kasumi Mishima. And who is Kasumi Mishima? Well, Kasumi Mishima is the deceased wife of Heihachi Mishima, as well as the daughter-in-law of the late Jinpachi Mishima. She is also the mother of Kazuya Mishima. And what is her involvement with Akuma, you may ask? Well, in Tekken 7, Fated Retribution, Akuma's revealed trailer shows that Kasumi Mishima has a dark side to her personality. She orders Akuma to kill her husband if she fails to do so herself, and also order him to kill her son Kazuya. In a story trailer narrated by Kasumi, it becomes clear that her primary concern is the safety of her young son, as she fears Heihachi will harm him when he discovers Kasumi's own powers. The trailer also suggests that Heihachi is responsible for much of the destruction that follows, including the evil actions of Kazuya and Jin. Kasumi tells Akuma that Heihachi must be killed to prevent him from causing further harm to innocent people in the future. Kasumi's antagonism towards her husband is further emphasized in her devil form, where she becomes hostile towards him and taunts him for marrying her in the first place. This is due to her family's plot to kill Heihachi, which has led a deep-seated resentment towards him. As the story of Tekken 7 unfolds, it is revealed that Kasumi did indeed love her new family, despite her initial intentions to kill Heihachi. However, she is torn by her loyalty to the Hachiyo clan, whose purpose is to monitor and eliminate individuals who become too power-hungry and pose a threat to society. This inner conflict leaves Kasumi emotionally conflicted and struggling to reconcile her love for her family with her duty to the clan. The Hachiyo clan, descendants of demonic blood, have been operating from Kyoto for thousands of years, remaining hidden in the shadows. Their primary mission is to eliminate those who pose a threat to the world, using their powers to maintain peace and order. Kasumi's love for her husband and son is evident, but she also recognizes the greater good and is willing to sacrifice them for the betterment of the world. She foresees that they would both follow an evil path if she fails in her mission, and is prepared to make the difficult decision to stop them. As Heihachi takes over his father's corporation and begins to show signs of power hunger, Kasumi realizes that her family's predictions were true. Despite her reluctance to embrace her devil form, delaying her mission to kill Heihachi only makes stronger its hold on her, causing her to fall ill frequently. It remains unclear whether Kasumi immediately made the choice to kill Heihachi, or if her devil form took control and made the decision for her. After witnessing the destruction caused by an air raid on a city, Akuma heads to the Mishima dojo to confront his target, Heihachi Mishima. However, their fight is interrupted by an army of Jack 6 robots sent by Kazuya Mishima. The two warriors team up to defeat the robots, and Akuma reveals that he was sent by Kasumi to kill both Heihachi and Kazuya. Akuma explains that he waited until Heihachi became stronger to fulfill the promise. After defeating Heihachi and destroying the Mishima dojo, Akuma heads to the top of the G Corporation tower to confront Kazuya. Akuma gains the upper hand in the fight, forcing Kazuya to transform into his devil form. However, their fight is interrupted by Heihachi, who had faked his death and fires a power laser from a space satellite, destroying the tower. Despite the attack, Akuma survives and confronts Kazuya again in a volcanic pit. The two engage in an intense fight, with Kazuya transforming into his full devil form. The battle reaches its climax when Akuma fires a Hadouken at Kazuya's devil beam attack, resulting in the destruction of the volcanic surroundings. The final outcome of the fight is unclear, but it is known that Kazuya remains the head of G Corporation and is still at odds with Jin Kazama. In the climatic battle between the father and son, Kazuya emerges victorious, apparently killing Heihachi. Let's start with Ken Masters. Ken is known for his quick and powerful moves, as well as his rivalry with fellow character Ryu. While Ken is a fan favorite, there are both pros and cons to using him in gameplay. One of the biggest pros of using Ken is his speed. Ken's moves are fast and can easily catch opponents off guard. This allows players to quickly close in on their opponents and land powerful strikes. Ken's speed also allows him to easily evade attacks, making him a difficult target for his opponents to hit. Another pro of using Ken is his powerful special moves. Ken's Shoryuken and Hadouken are two of the most iconic moves in the Street Fighter series, and for good reason. They deal a significant amount of damage and can be difficult for opponents to block or evade. Ken also has a variety of other special moves that can be used in different situations, providing players with a lot of options in battle. However, Ken also has some cons. One of the biggest downsides to using Ken is that his moves are very predictable. Ken's moves have been in the game for a long time, and many players are familiar with them. This can make it easy for opponents to predict what Ken is going to do and counter accordingly. Another con of using Ken is that he is not well-rounded as some other characters. While Ken excels in speed and power, he lacks other important traits such as range and defense. This can make it difficult for players to deal with certain opponents or situations. Let's talk about Akuma now. Akuma is definitely a character that stands out. He is known for his speed, power, and deadly special moves, which has made him a favorite among many players. One of the biggest advantages of using Akuma is his speed. He is incredibly quick and agile, which allows players to easily outmaneuver their opponents. This makes it easy to land quick strikes and also allows players to evade their opponent's attacks. This makes him a formidable opponent in the game. Another advantage of using Akuma is his powerful special moves. He has a wide variety of special moves, including his iconic Raging Demon, which deals massive damage and can be difficult for opponents to block or evade. This gives players a lot of options in battle and allows them to adapt to different situations. However, as much as Akuma has lots of strength, he also has some downsides. One of the biggest downsides to using him is that he is a high-risk, high-reward character. Akuma's moves are incredibly powerful, but they also require precise timing and execution to be effective. This means that players who are not familiar with the character may find themselves making mistakes and taking unnecessary damage. Another downside is that Akuma's moves can be quite predictable. His moves have been in the game for a long time, and many players are familiar with them. This makes it easy for opponents to predict what Akuma is going to do and counter accordingly as well. Lastly, Akuma has a high execution barrier, meaning that many of his moves are difficult to pull off in a match, especially in high-pressure situations. This can make it difficult for players to effectively use him in a match. Now what about Ryu? Well, Ryu is known for his balanced playstyle and emphasis on mastering the basic techniques of fighting. While Ryu is a fan favorite, there are both pros and cons to using him in gameplay. One of the biggest pros of using Ryu is his balance. Ryu is a well-rounded character, with no glaring weaknesses. He has a good mix of speed, power, and range, making him adaptable to a variety of situations. This allows players to play a more defensive style, or a more aggressive style, depending on the match. Another pro of using Ryu is his special moves. Ryu has the iconic Hadouken and Shoryuken moves, which are powerful and can be difficult for opponents to block or evade. These moves also have a variety of properties and can be used in different situations, providing players with a lot of options in battle. However, Ryu also has some cons. One of the biggest downsides to using Ryu is that he may not be as powerful as some other characters. Ryu is balanced, but he may not have the same raw power or speed as other characters, making it harder to finish off opponents. Another con of using Ryu is that his moves are predictable. Ryu's moves have been in the game for a long time. This can make it easy for opponents to predict what Ryu is going to do and counter accordingly also. The shun satsu, meaning instant prison murder, usually translated as the Raging Demon, is a super combo commonly seen used by its heavy practitioner, Akuma. It is one of the most powerful attacks throughout the franchise. In the storyline, the shun satsu is a very powerful but dangerous technique taught in the original principles of the Ansatsuken by Gotetsu. When performed, the user of the Satsui no Hado would hand themselves over entirely to the killing intent, launching a series of deadly strikes in a moment. Historically, those that had used this technique had been unable to resist the potency of the Satsui no Hado and were consumed by it, their minds reduced to that of violent, demon-like berserkers, such as Iworyu and Oni. Gotetsu was the only known person who could somehow use this technique without falling into the deeper aspects of the Satsui no Hado. The Satsui no Hado, sometimes translated as the Dark Hado, is a dark energy-based force. It is the antithesis of the power of nothingness. While the executed attack is a brutal onslaught of merciless fury, the basis of the attack is said to be linked to karmic forces drawn from the influence of the Satsui no Hado, channeling an infernal punishment in which the weight of sins and evil the victim has committed attacks their soul. While immensely powerful, this attack cannot work on artificial life forms. There is only one method known to perfectly counter this attack, that some characters have survived its wrath, being the power of emptiness, or Mu. Goku, Akuma's brother, had barely survived, being sent into a coma before unearthing himself after coming back to consciousness. His grasp of the power of nothingness was limited at the time and was greatly improved after his near-death experience. However, there are notable victims who somehow have survived this attack. Gil faced Shun Satsu head-on, but because of his resurrection ability, he survived the encounter. As with every Street Fighter move created, all of them might have been inspired either by another anime or manga. This move in particular is not the exception. The concept of Shun Satsu and Satsu no Hado itself seems also heavily inspired by the concept of Matoki no Aura from the Fist of the North Star manga series. Furthermore, the attack seems specifically inspired by the star technique called Hokuto Manju Muanken, North Star Thousand Hand Demon Sound Fist. The technique involves countless strikes in the blink of an eye and is fueled by the user's evil fighting aura, making the Shun Satsu share many similarities with it. This is the version that is used in the manga Street Fighter III Ryu Final, where Akuma's Shun Satsu is visually identical to Manju Muanken. In addition, the appearance of the Heaven Kanji, characteristically associated with its user Akuma, and how the move style is that of assassination, is likely a reference to the Japanese word denchu, meaning heavenly retribution, which was a popular memento written on paper by assassins to their victims and associates in feudal and turbulent eras of Japan. This move, while it looks cool, also serves as a great fighting tactic. In earlier installments, the Shun Satsu usually can be combined into a standing jab or a standing roundhouse, as well as cancelling a slower move, in order to take advantage of the opponent being hit-stunned long enough from the prior attacks, but only if the inputs were done fast enough. Like most high-powered moves in Street Fighter IV, focus attacks can also provide an opening. Despite its power, however, characters can escape with longer range moves due to the actual grab being close range. It can also be countered with as little as a quick jab or punished with a retreating jump attack. Its first animated appearance was in the episode The World's Greatest Warrior. Akuma used this move on Goku after he was inquired by him on why he decided to make a return after so long. Akuma replies by stating that he has learned the ultimate move of their art, in which Goku says, "Not the raging demon?" To which Akuma stands up and replies, "Yes," and uses it on Goku at point-blank range. Later, during Ken's battle with Akuma, Akuma threatens to use the Shun Satsu on Ken himself, but is thwarted before he can pull it off. The move makes his first cinematic appearance in Street Fighter Assassin's Fist, when Akuma uses it to kill his master, Gotetsu. As the latter charges up an extremely powerful Metsu Hadouken, Akuma engulfs himself in a mass of red flames, zooming at high speed towards Gotetsu and passing through the Hadouken. Little of the move is seen, though as Gotetsu is grabbed, a bright flash can be seen right before the shot changes, and a harrowing scream can be heard echoing along with the familiar screech. As Akuma stands over his fallen master, the kanji for heaven can be seen not only burning bright on his back, but also in the thundery clouds above. Street Fighter V revealed that the attack consists of a series of teleport punches that start out slow, but get progressively faster as the attack goes on, and targets vital weak spots of the body, which brutally, or even fatally, injures the opponent. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of Akuma and Street Fighter. We hope you enjoyed discovering some of the fascinating secrets of this legendary warrior. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. And as always, keep on fighting. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Akuma and the Street Fighter series, so feel free to leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider sharing it with your friends. Until next time, keep on gaming. This has been your Street Fighter host. Welcome to the center stage. Our new Discord server. There you can talk with us, chat about current events going on in Street Fighter, information, theories, and lore. We'll leave the link in the description box below. We want to thank everyone for tuning in and becoming part of this Street Fighter community. We want to thank you for your positive comments towards our channel, because it only habilitates us to grow even more. From the Street Fighterverse crew, we thank you.